to Artistpalooza, guys.
We're going to this?
Basically, for this panel, we're just walking right out to you guys to ask us general questions about what we do in art. What we'll do right now is we'll go down the line and introduce ourselves and what we do as far as art stuff goes, and then we'll open the floor up to you guys. It's going to be basically a free panel for you guys. Alright, so I'll start off. My name is Toxic Mario. I'm a comic artist in the fandom. Kind of got into the fandom in May 2011, so I'm kind of one of these veteran bronies, if you want to call it that way. And I do just single pictures and just comics, and that's just basically what I do.
I'm Englishman. How y'all doing? I draw pony prints of ponies with crazy expressions that look like they just escaped from the crazy house, and all sorts of other assorted kinds of spaghetti. And I got into the fandom way back in about 2012. I thought to myself, I saw people drawing pictures of it saying, "Oh, that looks like a very cute kitten." And then I looked it up and says, "Oh, it's actually a horse. It looks fun to draw." And then 2 years later, I guess the rest is history. Thanks.
My name is Silver Slinger. If you were here last year, you probably knew me as Chaotic Brony. I did not fall off the face of the earth, just changed my name. If you've never heard of me before, what I do is I twist and bend metal to my will. I make jewelry. Yes, I'm a metal bender.
Mostly I do illustrations, game art, commissions, that sort of thing, and I have no clue what to say. My name's Silva. DeviantArt, Tumblr, whatever. Is that cookie? I know.
Yeah. My name is Dark Flame. I'm best known for a Tumblr blog called Student of the Night, which is Bat Pony, Scootaloo, and Luna. And I'm also known for Luna everything. Like half my gallery, more than half of my gallery is Luna. I just draw Luna all the time.
He is the biggest Luna person in the fandom, I'm not gonna lie.
Luna guy.
Yeah, I started doing art in general because of ponies back in 2011. It's been 3 years and it's been pretty crazy, but I really have enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun.
Basically what we'll do is we're going to open up basically this whole next hour to questions for all you guys. If you guys have questions for all of us, just make sure you say that. It's all. I know, right? I should be doing that. Nah, I'll tell you that story in a little bit. Not right now, though. Just you can ask that later. All right, so what we'll do is we'll open this up to all you guys. Anybody who raised their hand, we're just calling you guys. General questions for all of us, just art-wise, any questions on how we do our art, whatever. We'll just kind of wing it, see how it goes. All right, we'll start in the front. Yep, yeah. Okay, so that'd be for all of us. Basically for me, it's hard to gauge what I want to do. It's more so, I'm not as experienced as some of these other guys here. These guys are much better than artists than I can. So when it comes to a pose, I'll usually just highly reference the show and just get an idea for it, what I want to do. If it's a DBZ pony that I'm trying to do for my artwork, I'm more kind of winging it for the most part. And it's just basically one of those things. For comics, it's more just like I'll follow a simpler style and poses like that.
I just think of the most majestic, most regal, and amazing and visually detailed kind of pose that I possibly can. I watch continual fantasy series, I watch countless cartoons to get inspiration, and I think of the most excellent, amazing pose work that I can, and then I think, okay, how can I possibly make this as stupid as I can?
A lot of my inspiration comes directly from the show. I'm very well known for taking things from the show, the lead and wing badges, the keys of harmony, and pretty much reverse engineering and making identical replicas in real life. I've become well enough known for that during season 4 of the Discord and Twilight pendant. Pixel Kitties and Dusty Cats were taking bets on Twitter of how long it would take me to finish it. And I got to say, everyone completely underestimated me. Everyone was saying like 3 days a week. I finished it in 7 hours.
Whatever is in my head, and that's the inspiration. I just like movement, so I start with gesture drawings and go from there. And she's like, okay, S curve, let's go. Whatever this ends up, it'll be whatever I'm thinking. I have no complicated answer.
Yeah, I don't really have like a thing I can point to and say, I get my inspiration for it from here, but like generally the poses, I just kind of draw the legs wherever I want, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I erase it, and then I try again. And eventually I get something that looks good.
All right, cool. Next question. We'll just start over there. White shirt, yeah. Oh, you, yeah. Right there with the Alex. Go.
So I was just wondering what you guys did when you came across like sort of an art block. I know it comes like kind of often for a lot of people, whether it's just drawing or writing or anything, and what you did to overcome that sort of thing. Like, what do you do when you can't think of ideas?
It's hard to say for my thing. It's more so I just keep drawing. I really have not stopped making art at all. I'm not taking even 1 week break since, like I said, when I got in May 2011. Now, that's kind of crazy because that's not normal. But for me, I'm more so, these guys can probably explain it better. I just keep going, keep going, keep going. I just try to push through it and just keep drawing anything just so I don't get bored, in a sense. I just keep pushing through it, in a sense. If there's nothing you have to draw, then I'm going to force myself to draw something.
I just do random doodles in a sketchbook that I keep on my side, and if a sketch inspires me enough to actually carry it through to a completed work, then I just work on it from there and turn it into a finished picture. I think the important thing to get over an art block is to just draw whatever comes to mind. If you can't really think of anything to draw, then start even before that, like brainstorm ideas, keep a notepad with you at all times so you can like think of fun ideas that inspire you. It's like sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, I get this craziest idea, and then I have to write it down. And if I don't get it down on paper, then in the morning I wonder what was so funny about James Brown wearing a banana suit and dancing the hula.
Usually when I have artist block, what I usually will do first is I'll sit down, I'll sketch for hours on end. Then after wasting that much time, usually what I end up doing is, the ideas usually just come to me. If I'm in my shop working, I'm filling orders, I'll just be sitting there filing or, sawing away at something, then I'll be like, hey! And they just kind of come to me from now and then. The piece I'm donating to the charity auction, the Who's one, it was kind of like that. I was just sitting there, and I was like, I got an idea. They just kind of come to me, really. I mean, I can't force inspiration. I really can't.
Yeah, for me, just work through it. If nothing else works, just take some piece of fine art and ponify it. Find something, Michelangelo, pony. Ponify the Grand Middle East. I think I actually did that one. You can do it. Yeah. Just continue to work, and I have enough things like game art and stuff like that. Just keep working, keep working, keep working. Eventually something else will come to your head. Just go with that.
Yeah, I think the key is, like they're saying, to just keep drawing, even if you don't feel like you have ideas, or if you don't feel like you're good enough or whatever, just keep drawing. It's like, I actually do with a couple of them, another blog where we draw Luna every day. And I made a commitment where I will not miss a day. And I've gone like 3 months now, not missing a single day. Yeah, she's missed a lot of days. But it helps me because when I'm having a day where I just do not want to draw, I draw anyway. But usually when I have no ideas, I just draw what I'm feeling. Oftentimes it ends up being frustration, but sometimes it's other emotions. And it's just draw some emotion or feeling you have, because you always have feelings of some sort. And you can always put those on paper, and that's always effective.
Thank you all.
All right, cool. Yes. Next question. We'll move over here. Right there. Yeah. Oh, right, the kid, yeah.
Who is best pony and why?
Loaded question.
Okay. For me, it's Pinkie Pie, because I see more of myself in her character, and I just love. I don't really draw her as much, but I just love just the free-spirited nature that she has and just how crazy she can be. And I just love how they work with her in the show, just how sometimes it's a fourth wall breaking, all this other stuff. That's basically why I love her so much as my favorite. Oh, it's time to drink, maybe. Who knows?
Crazy. Spike. But out of the main 6, I think my favorite is Pinkie Pie because of her outlook on life. She always stays positive and she always finds a reason to be happy even when things get depressed and overwhelming. And I've always found that inspiring, how she can find happiness in even the most depressing of situations. And she just lives to like spread that kind of cheer around to other people and doesn't like hog it all to herself. And finds a reason to celebrate every little thing. I just kind of like that about her. And also Spike is best pony, followed by Discord and then Pinkie Pie.
I have a best pony in 6 different categories. I'll just stick with main 6 this time though. Mine would be Rarity. Alright. What won me over with Rarity first was probably her facial expressions. I would say out of all the main 6, she had the funniest expressions of any of them I've ever seen. And then over time, you know, kind of how like Talks, you know, kind of saw some similarities between him and Pinkie. It was kind of like with me and Rarity. If anyone saw me in my shop, you'd probably think from now and then, yeah, he's kind of like Rarity. I mean, I would be working and I would overreact about the littlest thing. I mean, worst possible thing, and then I'd be like, oh, wait a minute, no, it's all good.
Perfection.
Yeah.
And a great couch.
Favorite pony? Where's Celestia?
Oh, really?
No, Purple Princess Nerd Horse. I have a strong day job, so kindred spirit there.
I think I'll let them answer because I think they know, yeah. If my blog about drawing Luna every day and my gallery being full of Luna doesn't tell you, Luna is best pony.
Yeah! Hallelujah.
The reason why, I don't know, it's mostly because I've always been a night person. Like, I always have loved the night because I get to be alone in the quiet, in the dark, and just do work or whatever. And I just really like that about Luna too, so.
She's dark, what do you like the dark?
Your definition of a night owl. Alright, next one. Way in the back.
Are you gonna like make this guy run for the fun of it?
Yes, I'm gonna make it.
What a girl.
I just have a simple question. Any tips for noobs, I guess, for drawing?
Just beginners?
Yeah.
For me, it's really simple for me. I'm just like gonna wait. I'm gonna start on paper. I always start, when I first started any art, I would start on paper. And then just my method is I digitize it later on. But as just starting out, I would recommend just looking at something from the show if you're gonna stick with pony or any other type of art, medium, whatever. If you're gonna go digital or just any type of traditional, I would start drawing on paper and just seeing a picture on screen, on the computer or laptop, whatever you want to say, and see if you can replicate it as best as I can. That's how I started out, and then over time, once I felt comfortable saying, you know what, I'm done with that, I can actually start making my own stuff, I started making my own stuff like that. I don't need references, I kind of had the idea and the layouts all set out. And then eventually I went out to digital, but some people can start straight digital, some people find it easier to start traditional. I just happen to start traditional art first, and then I went digital.
I think I followed along the same route. I was just like drawing mostly pencil and sketch artwork, and then I gradually went into digital. I think art is a constant learning experience, and you're always learning new things. So the best thing I can say would probably be to try something new every single picture you draw. And it's just like whether it be a technique, whether it be a form of art like humans, ponies, animals, even landscapes, go ahead and give it a try and like really round out your portfolio, give it some variety, and that'll give you experience doing like a lot of new things. You may find that, oh, you like something, you don't like something, you want to draw some more than others. Maybe you like ponies, you like girls, you like but yeah, go ahead and experiment, like whether it's with art or with anything.
My advice would be have lots and lots of patience. Don't get discouraged easily. Whatever your end goal is, you won't reach it overnight. You just got to keep practicing and practicing, and you will get better. More often than not, it happens gradually. You don't notice, but you will get better.
Basically, drop and drop and drop and drop and drop. Somebody once told me it takes 3,000 hours to master something. So get started. Or 10,000, yeah, that's what it was, 10. I got numbers messed up. But yeah, just start. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just get a pencil, get a paper, draw what you want, figure out what's wrong with it, get somebody else to look at it to see what's wrong with it. If you have no more perception of this, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, just to add to what they'd say, I'd just say find other, preferably artists, but they could be just other friends to encourage and hopefully teach you. Because I know, like for me when I started, I quickly got into communities of artists who could give me advice and tips and help me critique and all that, and that really, really helped me early on. Because otherwise, probably just would have looked at it and gotten discouraged and thought, I don't care anymore. So, find people. People are always helpful.
Support groups.
Yeah.
All right, next up. Let's see. I was saying this anyway. I don't know over there, but you have a starting over right there. Yeah. Trying to mix it, right?
Besides art, what is your favorite community-created medium?
Oh boy. For me, because I stick digital, honestly, it's this guy right here. I love his jewelry. His stuff is like amazing. So his stuff is the stuff that I really admire and like as far as other mediums and stuff go.
As far as other mediums, you're talking about like other subject areas of art, like other things besides?
Yeah, like music.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I think you meant just art-wise. No, I love music and stuff like that. That's actually where I used to be, and I love like just looking at the landscape stuff. I mean, I mainly look at those two things because everybody kind of knows I'm kind of obsessed with watching Bob Ross videos. So I kind of on my streams. So I kind of like looking at landscapes. And if I ever did go into something else, I would love to go into like painting. That'd be something that I would love to do as far as something like that.
I think for me, it's cars. I like cars, especially like classic muscle cars and some exotic sports one, and I like learning about them. I like reading about them. I even like drawing them from time to time. And in fact, I used to get in trouble with my dad a lot because when I hung out in the library after school to quote unquote do my homework, he always got mad at me because he would find me thumbing through car magazines and when I should have been thumbing through my math textbooks. So doing the homework. Yeah. It's a really a side hobby of mine. I just like to like read up and imagine myself driving. Sometimes I'll sit in my desk going vroom vroom all the time, pretending I'm racing in like the Formula One or the Indy 500. I'd race NASCAR, but all I'd be doing is like 2 hours of left turns. But yeah, that's. Yes. Never go right. You'll head into the pit zone and cost yourself about a minute of lap time.
I guess my answer would be animation. I'm big into, I think when I was still kind of a borderline brony, I was watching the show, I watched all the episodes, I had nothing, I had to turn to the fandom because I wanted more, but I watched all the episodes to date. I think the first thing that really got me into the fandom was the amazing animations. I could not believe the stuff that was fan-made, and I've been a fan of it since. Some of the stuff, the stuff that the creator of Flufflepuff is making, just phenomenal. Just some of these random little things just pop up. You never know what people are going to come up with next. Friendship is manly, for example. Just some of the weirdest things. And I just love it. I love it so much. I really do.
Really, all parts of the fandom are awesome. I have a soft spot for fanfics, but the biggest one is games. I may be biased, a little bit biased.
Me too.
But yeah, fanfics, but mostly games.
We both do game stuff, so we're a little biased because we make games, so we like games.
So we look at other people's games and go, yes.
What games? Yeah, Dark Flame, which games?
You go first.
I've been on 3. I've been on LOE, kind of still am. I've been on Starlight Studios, which is doing
Mega Man X.
And the bigger one, Shattered Kingdom. You should go to the panel. It's tomorrow. Go to it.
Yes,
what time's the panel?
Look it up. About 5:30 tomorrow. Stars Hall.
And I'm on Mega Man X as well with Starlight Studios. Who's back there, by the way?
And go for it.
Oh, right here. Yeah, we can hear it.
Okay. What's your favorite art program and why?
All right, she said, what's her favorite art program and why? I really just like Photoshop CS6. That's the only program that I really know how to use nowadays. But like I said, I go on paper and then I go into Photoshop CS6. So as far as programs, that's the main program. I don't really know how to use Flash. I don't really know how to use SAI. I don't really know how to use much of the other ones. I've just been very familiar with Photoshop ever since I was in like high school. And I was way before art. And I'm very familiar with it, so that's basically just mine. Just familiarity-wise.
I also like using Photoshop. It's a bit older, Photoshop CS5, mostly because I can't afford CS6. And, but yeah, I've used it all the time for my art ever since I first got started doing digital about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It's a program I've always used, and I've really loved the flexibility of filters I can get and all the different effects. I find that it's like a constant learning experience. Even though no matter how long I'm using it, there are always so many features to it, to the point where I always feel like I'll learn something new. Like every time I read about or learn about a new filter or technique or something like that. So it's just really interesting to get into, and I highly recommend it.
I guess my favorite art program would be, I guess, Corel Photoshop, because it's kind of like Photoshop for dummies, which is kind of what I need. And pretty much what I usually only use a digital program for is when I take photos of my jewelry and I need to kind of brighten them up a bit. Corel has this beautiful little button called Smart Photo Fix that does everything for you, and I just love it to death because of that.
Primarily Photoshop CS5 because I'm in the same boat as Instrument, 2.4 for CS6 or CC. I've also tinkered in Manga Studio and 3ds Max for 3D, Mudbox for 3D, and all things traditional 2D.
Yeah, it really depends on what exactly I'm doing. Generally, I like Photoshop the most, but there's another program I like when I'm doing really clean and smooth lines. It's called Fire Alpaca. It's kind of a weird name, but yeah, she showed me it actually. Yeah, it's a free program. It has a smoother size famous for it,
It's a stabilizer thing.
But I actually like it better personally. But generally, I use Photoshop just because there's so much I can do with it that nothing else can do anyway.
Yeah, and I just know a lot of beginner artists usually use GIMP because it's free, and they work their way from GIMP into Photoshop sometimes. All right, next question. I was starting the front because I'll just make it easier for your walk.
Do you enjoy taking commissions, and what is the most difficult part of the commission process?
For commissions for me, it's once in a blue moon sometimes. I don't do commissions as much as these guys, just because sometimes for me with commissions, it's hard to get motivated at times to work on a commission. Sometimes I used to let my commissions sit for days and then weeks, and I would always forget them, and then people would just say, hey, where's my commission? And I just get so sidetracked with it. But I have done some commissions recently. The hardest part for commissions is trying, in my mind, to please what the person who commissioned me wants. That's what I've always found is the hardest thing to do. I don't want to feel like I'm giving them something really poor, and I feel like if what I think is good may not be what they think is good. It's one of those things where it's just head games to me sometimes, and that's basically why I think it's the hardest parts for doing commissions for me is, will the person like it as much as I'm working on it?
I think that's a big part of my fear with it too. I'm sorry, can you hear me? Yeah, it's a really big part of my fear trying to figure out exactly what in specific they want with the image, because a lot of the times what I want to draw isn't what they want to draw, and they have the final say in it because they paid for it, it's their money, and I'm always worried about setting a rate and is it going to be worth it? Is my talent going to be enough to justify the high price they're willing to pay for it? And
undersell yourself, yeah.
Yeah. So I tend to undersell myself a lot because even now I don't really have a lot of confidence in my abilities, even though I've been at it for a while. And yeah, a lot of the times I ask whoever's commissioning to be as specific as possible, because there have been a few cases where what I've drawn hasn't exactly matched up to what they were expecting. So I've had to redraw a few in the past. But yeah, once I think once I figure out exactly what they want and calculate a reasonable rate, I think the rest takes care of itself. And commissions are actually very, very fun to do.
Yeah, I kind of sort of take commissions. I've kind of stopped recently because I've gotten busy with shop orders. But when I do take commissions, my hardest part would probably be when I can't do a commission. My hardest part would probably be explaining why I can't. And I don't blame anyone, but for that, because how often do you buy jewelry? I mean, is it something? It's not something you purchase daily like food. So a lot of people, most people don't quite understand what goes into it. So when somebody's like, okay, wait a minute, what do you mean you can't make me a full suit of armor? And I'm like, well, you see, the biggest anvil I have fits in the palm of my hand, so that would make hammering out a helmet kind of difficult for me. So that's kind of the hardest part for me, would be explaining it.
I like to take commissions, but the hardest part for me is timing it, to figure out how much to charge, the pricing thing again. I've gotten better about timing myself as I work or recording myself as I work to get a better judge of it. But yeah, timing.
Yeah, it's a tough question for me because on one hand, I really, really love when I give someone a commission and they just love it. That's the best moment right there. But on the other hand, I'm never happy with my own work. And especially on commissions, I feel like I really need to really please them. And it always does, but I never expect it will, so I never want to be done with it. So I keep on working on it too long and then I get frustrated. But in general, I enjoy it, yeah. And I'm not planning on stopping, so.
All right, yep, we got a lot over here. We'll start right here in the red. We're working way down a little bit.
Red.
Yeah, red right there.
What is your long-term goal?
My long-term goal is I'm gonna ride this out as far as I go, and then I may go into painting. So I'll see after I'm done with the whole shebang if I get if ever the show ends. Hopefully never. But I'll keep going with it, and then I'll keep going and keep going, and I'll maybe merge into painting. But still my long-term goal is what I signed up to do. I went to college for. It's been my passion ever since I was 8. Is meteorology, and that's why I signed up. I got a degree in it. So, and it's still my passion. I still make forecasts like crazy. I just keep help him, Silver right here, make tornado forecasts. So he's got me almost my 3 tornadoes this year. But that's my long-term goal, is to maybe try and find a balance eventually with meteorology and art, but maybe move into maybe eventually a different medium in general.
My long-term goal, oh gosh, that's something I haven't really given a whole lot of thought to. But yeah, I hope to keep drawing pony art for as long as the series is definitely airing, and maybe even a long time afterwards too. I mean, I find that the following I've gained here is incredibly excellent. Positive, yes. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on my work. I've met a lot of interesting and exciting and very incredible people. And just like everyone here and everyone up here too. And yeah, I hope to keep drawing pony art for as long as that rides out. And I hope to eventually start my own Tumblr. After that's done writing out, I guess maybe start an original series. I've always been pretty passionate about webcomics, so I was thinking about developing characters and a storyline for that. It's an industry I guess I've really always wanted to be part of. Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
I'm pretty much doing what I plan to do the rest of my life. I don't know how long, like they said, as long as the show's going, as long as my art's desired, I'll keep making pony-themed jewelry, because it's fun, I love it. But if and when the day comes that that's done, I will just go back to making jewelry in general. My father owns his own jewelry store. He's the one that inspired me to become a jeweler. And when he retires, he's going to hand it on to me, and that's pretty much where I'm going to be the rest of my life.
Basically, I'm on the track to where I want to be. Illustrations and game art. And just reach where I can sustain myself well on those, and I'll be happy.
You keep on stealing my answer.
No.
It's pretty much the same for me. I just want to do game art. I want to make games. I don't want to be rich or famous. I just want to make games.
I don't care if I have to eat ramen like once in a while. I'm happy.
Whoa. Very cool. All right, we'll go way in the back. We're trying to mix it up a little bit. Well, yeah, right there.
This is a question to the jeweler. What would you say is the largest, most complex thing you've ever had to make as far as pony-related jewelry and things like that goes?
Sombra's crown. Okay, a certain someone on the end of the table here told Fiesta Equestria, if you want crowns made, I know the guy to do it. And so they recommended, he recommended them to me, and I was curious. I was like, I've never made something that large before, so I had to make Sombra's crown and the Element of Magic tiara. That was the worst 2 months of my life. They're in my gallery, though. You can take a look at them, and they were both very hard to do, but I'd say between the two, the Sombra crown was the most complex, and I would say it's the most show accurate of the two. That's really cool. So definitely that one.
All right.
Just real quick, in the second row here, in the yes.
Oh, all right.
I have somebody here who is a wonderful drawer, and I was wondering, where do you recommend that people put their artwork to be seen to kind of get them noticed and get them started?
Oh, okay. I mainly instruct DeviantArt. I just find that sometimes the community there is, I'm not going to say more, it's hard to say. For me, I never gone to Tumblr. I haven't gone really anywhere else. The DeviantArt community is pretty nice. If you actually ask for critiques, they actually usually will respond. I just primarily like DeviantArt just because it's like I just know people there. I just like the community there. I'm not very familiar with the Tumblr community. I don't really know many people there. So I would recommend going DeviantArt. That's just primarily what I only use and stuff like that.
I'll second the DeviantArt.
Third.
Yeah, pretty much just DeviantArt.
Maybe Tumblr.
Basically, DeviantArt, add your stuff to groups on DeviantArt because that's the way to get people to see it. Post it on Reddit.
Find your appropriate subreddit.
Yeah, if you want to do Tumblr, it's good for like meeting people, like other Tumblr people. I don't know why. For some reason, it's better for making friends. But DeviantArt, if you want to be noticed, DeviantArt, and submit to Equestria Daily.
But also, people on DeviantArt will actually give you comments. It's much easier to see the comments than on like Tumblr for me. Yep, that's wrong. We'll go over there. So I'm trying to get there.
Seems like a lot of people really like your art, but listening to everyone, they seem to have a bit of self-doubt. How do you, this dichotomy between people loving the art and self-doubt, how do you get over that, or how do you reconcile that? And how would you help somebody that has doubt over the art that they do?
So it's basically if I'm working on a picture, I'm doubting my own work or something like that. Yeah. And just how people are like saying, hey, it's really good. For me, I just try to make it so if I like it, then as long as I'm happy with it, for me personally, that's my approach. If I'm happy with it, I'm going to assume other people will like it. But if I have doubts about my own pictures, it's more like I usually will revert to the community to see if they can pick me up and say, hey, it's not as bad as you say it is. But sometimes it's like I can get really overly perfect on some of my DBZ pictures, or DBZ pony pictures, I should say. I get really picky about certain rock details or stuff like that, and I think it's going to come out bad on the comic, for example. Like that, my backgrounds are sometimes really bad, how they start out, and then eventually when I finish, they look, okay, they're pretty decent, but I could have done better, and yet people are saying, hey, your backgrounds are good. And I look back maybe a couple weeks later and like, okay, maybe they were good, but no, I didn't see it right at that moment.
I think a lot of self-doubt comes from the fear of opening up your work for critique. It's like putting it out in the real world instead of like on your desk and opening it up to the possibility that like there might not be people who like it, but you know what, I guess critique is a natural part of life. It's like no matter what you do, there's always going to be someone who holds it in like a negative regard or thinks you could have done better. And I think the people who think I could have done better, I've actually gotten a lot of very constructive and helpful feedback from them. And it turns out that every time I doubted myself, I posted it, and the reaction wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. And as far as that's concerned, it was a continual growing experience. I still have a lot of like personal limits that I'm trying to overcome. I guess that's the best way I can put it. But the best way is just to open your artwork to other people, take constructive criticism constructively, and because that's I guess the main fear that's driving me in most of my work. It's like I could have done better, and other people know that I could have done better, but the only way I can feel about it, the only way I can know what I could have done better at is to just like post it and have people tell me that the things that I might not have seen at first glance myself. And that it's a continual process, I guess.
I just went totally blank. My mind went blank. I completely forgot what I was going to say. Pretty much, it's been my experience that any artist has some level of self-doubt. I've talked to many artists, and every now and then they all seem to doubt themselves, and I'm no exception either. I think the best way to get over self-doubt is to, you know, when you present your work, people compliment you, you know, people really don't toss around empty compliments much. I mean, I've learned that when people compliment you, they genuinely like what you do and they think you've got some talent. And, you know, just take it in. Just, you know, take it in and just take the compliment. That really does help. It makes you feel really good. But you just got to watch that fine line of, you know, being too doubtful of yourself and getting too kind of arrogant, you know, thinking that, oh, you know what, everyone says I'm the best, you know what, and I am the best, you know, don't get that bad.
Yeah, everyone has self-doubt. Everyone's their own worst critic, that's true. For me personally, it's just finding those artists that I really like their work, I love their work, admire it, and then realizing they're human. They're no different than me. They just put in more work, more dedication, and I can do that too. I can eventually get to that level and just keep working, and aspire to them. They're human.
I think that it's really easy to get into tunnel vision and just look at where you are right now and to look at where you want to be compared to that and think that, oh, I'm not there, I feel horrible because I'm not there yet. But you have to remember to look where you come. Because you always improve. You've always come somewhere. And if you look back at your old stuff compared to your new stuff, you'll want to cry because you'll just, your old stuff will just look horrible to you. And that, for me, is probably my biggest encouragement when I'm just, like, really doubting. I just look at my old stuff and I just go, okay, I guess I'm not that bad.
Cool. All right, next.
I feel like I like right where he is.
Yeah, fine. I just want, yeah. Oh, wait, back there? Oh, what?
Hi, yeah, hello. As an aspiring artist, I haven't had a lot of formal training or instruction on certain artistic skills or abilities. And from what it sounds like, a lot of you guys are all self-taught. And so I wanted to know, what are y'all's suggestions for, you know, kind of branching out and trying new styles or trying new techniques for your art?
As far as my stuff goes, I like to see how much I can improve on my backgrounds. There's a lot of challenging things, for example, my comics that I haven't actually tested out yet. I want to eventually learn how, I'm gonna hate trying to draw Twilight's Newcastle when eventually that season comes up. But it's more so, I like to try branching out within the pony realm. I can't really do animations, I can't really do that stuff, that's beyond my knowledge. But as far as branching out, I want to keep branching out with trying to improve on my poses and my backgrounds, because that's something that I find really challenging. Is I like to challenge myself on how much I can do my backgrounds and how well I can detail them.
I think as far as developing and learning new techniques, if you're an aspiring artist, I've found a lot of Google searches and YouTube tutorials that I've looked up to be incredibly helpful. It's because, like, you can see the process of how to do a specific result that you want, step by step, and it really helps you not only get the hang of how something should look, but it also helps you get more in tune with the program that you're currently using. So, and also that, and Google image searching definitely helps as far as looking up references for images you're trying to draw. And yeah, but definitely the tutorials have been a definite stepping stone for me. I think just by looking up a lot of those, I've grown leaps and bounds over the past few years.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, don't be afraid to explore new techniques, try new things. You know, I kind of learned doing what I'm doing that, you know, the more you learn, the more people you learn from, you pick up little tricks here and there, but eventually you do develop a style that's all your own. And pretty much that's where you want to be. You want to just get to where you're doing something no one else is doing that makes you really, stand out from them.
I did have the benefit of formal education, but formal education only gets you there faster in a shorter amount of time. From there, you keep learning. You never stop learning. So again, tutorials, there's plenty of them. Getting references, just learning that. Teaching yourself is half the battle.
Yeah, being self-taught doesn't mean that you're by yourself. You can still look up tutorials and references. That's not cheating. You can still buy books. That's not cheating. In fact, it's kind of really helpful.
Kind of required.
Yeah, I mean, some people that are absolute geniuses could probably do it without, but even they wouldn't get as far because they'd be learning everything from the start. So look at tutorials, copy references, all that stuff. It's really the same thing you do in school. You just don't have a person standing over your shoulder the whole time.
Yeah, you don't have direct guidance. You don't have that.
All right, cool. Wow, look at all these questions. Oh, we're just going to go over here. Let's try this side for a second. Yep, right there.
How would you say you've gotten over your darkest part as being an artist?
Just like lowest point as far as being an artist goes, like how bad it was. I kind of, it's one of those things where we went before, is like, I just plowed through it. It's more like, I can see sometimes, I go through periods of ways where sometimes my art isn't as good, but I know eventually I'll get out of it. It's just going to take time. I don't know when it's going to happen. I'll just got to keep going, and I'll eventually get out of that dark lull, or whatever you want to call it, that I'm in. Because eventually, I know I'm going to eventually go on the uptick, and my art will be back to where I think I can appreciate it more.
I think a lot of my worst absolute state comes from being in the environment I was growing up with, and being around people who weren't really all that supportive of the art hobby, because I guess I live in a very conservative, very practical kind of family, and they really don't think anything of my art at all unless it's making money, because that's really all that anything comes down to them. And I have a day job and I draw in my spare time, but apparently I guess that isn't good enough at times. And I guess I get over that by saying, you know what, this is what I want to do. It's an excellent creative vent. Whenever I'm feeling angry or whenever I'm feeling at my lowest point, I just get in front of my computer and draw whatever comes to mind, and then suddenly I post it, I get feedback from people who genuinely appreciate it instead of people who don't. And that has fueled a lot of what has gotten me out of that low point. It's just like networking yourself with people who genuinely appreciate what the art that you contribute. So instead of looking at it just as a means to make money, or, because let's face it, there is no multi-million-dollar mansion with 10 cars waiting for you at the end of this art career, unless you're like really, unless you happen to be a god.
Unless you're Disney reincarnated.
And you're doing this mostly, I do it mostly for love, because I love to draw, I love the people I meet through here, and every time I reminded myself of that, it's just gotten me all the way past that. Excuse me.
Yeah, my answer's kind of similar to his. Pretty much, I got past the worst of it for me when I realized I need to be doing, I need to be doing what I need to do for. I need to do what makes me happy and what I love to do, and not what can make me the most money, what can make me the most successful. I think that's when I realized happiness comes first. That's, I think, when I had the biggest change.
Yeah, I think that's the point everyone reaches, like, no one gets rich on this, so you have to do it for your love. As far as getting over that dark point, just lots of introspection, reaffirming, this is what I love. This is what I will do.
Yeah, I think for me, it's usually just kind of sitting there and realizing, like, I might feel horrible right now, but in a week, I'm going to feel fine again, because that's just kind of what happens, You go through phases, and it's just how it works, unfortunately.
I'll add that having a support group, like the people here, that really helps.
Yes, it does.
Thanks. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll go right there. Go over. Yep.
Yep.
Hello. What made you decide that art style that you guys chose? Like, you decided that's the style you're going to go with and that's what you're going to practice most?
I don't think you really decide. I think it kind of just happens to you. Yeah.
It's more so, for me, I just started with show style, but I tweaked the show style a little bit. But as far as picking out what style you do, it's more just a matter of preference and you developing that style over time, or just learning, hey, I like that way this guy does his eyes, but I want to do the eyes a little bit differently and stuff like that. You just pick it up from different artists sometimes, or just different shows. You're like, hey, I want to do ponies like this style. But it's more just a matter of preference. I just decided to pick the show style, but tweak it more towards my style. And like for DBZ ponies, I keep that style DBZ with my own integration of my own show style.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a very huge part of it. Like starting out with a show and using that as a springboard, and then kind of adding your own twist to it to make it unique. And I think I started drawing ponies in like a style that was sort of like the original show style, but at the same time it had some kind of like some soft shading added into it. Over time I sort of converted that into a full lineless style, something resembling like 3D or realism. I'm not sure how I describe it. And then I went back into a phase of cell shading, because I have a lot of background cell shading in anime. So I was pretty comfortable with that. I thought I'd add my own twist one day. And I guess that's how, even between the lineless 3D looking approach and the CD, I mean, not the CD, but the cell shading that I normally use now, it's like a 50-50 as to whether I decide what kind of style I use. But it's good to be versatile and develop a whole different range, yeah. And practice that range in every bit as you can, as much as possible.
I guess in my situation, it would be, what style of jewelry design I chose to go with. And I do handcrafting on most of my pony-themed jewelry because it's something I used to do all the time when I was younger, but as I got older and started taking on more responsibilities at my day job, it kind of got pushed aside to the point I wasn't even doing it anymore, but it was something I really enjoyed doing. So when I became a Brony, got really into the show, I saw it as an opportunity to kind of get back into that, do something fun that I never get to do anymore. And again, like I say, it makes me really happy.
I'm not entirely sure where my style came from. I think I had too much fun trying to push the uncanny valley for a while with Real Horse and Pony, and so they always came up with this weird neck. I'm told my necks are very distinctive. I have no clue how. I have yet to see it, but somehow that stays no matter how I try to render it, whether it be painterly or graphic or whatever else. As far as beyond that, yeah, I decide not to choose one way.
Yeah.
I have too much fun with the range.
I just draw what I like, and yeah, I kind of tend to draw things a certain way after a while. I didn't really sit down and decide I'm going to draw them like this. I look at it and go, oh, I like that. I want to draw it like that now, and then I start drawing it like that. And that's kind of just happens over time to me. Kind of like she said, I didn't really pick it.
Oh, all right. Why don't you over here? I want to get you like right down in the front, yeah. Now I'm getting right next to him.
I was wondering if you guys could share maybe one of your greatest moments of triumph. One of those moments where you just did something absolutely amazing as an artist. It made either yourself or maybe a commissioner or someone just so happy that it made you just happy to be an artist, reaffirmed your value as an artist.
Ooh, wow. That's a good question. As far as the moment of triumph, just me feeling really happy, I just more so appreciate making others feel really happy about my own work. If they like it and they're happy about it, that makes it feel really good. As long as I'm basically finding a way to brighten up someone's day, saying, hey, your comic actually made my day. I was having a really crappy day. Now, just reading your comic actually made it all better and stuff like that. Even that's the stuff that anything that I release doesn't really matter. Every single time I get that comment, I really appreciate and take it to heart. And that's the type of stuff that I find as my greatest triumph. It's usually just whenever I see that. There's already just one singular moment too much.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest inspiration too, is just the positive feedback you get and the, also the constructive criticism from people who genuinely want you to improve. And also, knowing that somebody out there appreciates what you do and wants you to keep doing it, definitely.
My favorite is probably when I'm on Twitter, and I think when people tweet themselves wearing my jewelry in public or at a convention, and just going on about how happy they are to own one of my pieces, that truly means the world to me.
Yeah, anytime I get a reply back from a commissioner, it's like, oh my God, this is exactly what I wanted. I love it.
That's a hard question for me, because I don't know that I have any one big victory that I feel is the coolest one, but I have a lot of little ones that just make it worth it. But I think my favorite is probably that moment that happens sometimes when you're drawing and you just go, whoa, I can draw.
All right. All right, we're going to the back. We're going to the back. Oh, center back. Oh no, you were waving. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right, hands up again. Oh, wait, what was that again?
Do you have any of your own personal IPs that you guys would be interested in or are currently working on in addition with ponies?
I'm not working on anything. I'm just doing a lot of pony stuff. That's all I'm sticking to right now.
I'm thinking about doing a Tumblr with Robot Luna.
Do it.
Do it. Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I actually have a lot going on, some of which I actually can't talk about.
Yeah. The games that I already mentioned, and my day job is making movies for planetariums, so I'll do that.
I don't really have anything I'm working on actively, but I've obviously got ideas swirling around that, I don't know, I'm dedicated too much to this right now to...
Whatever he's thinking, Luna takes precedence.
Yes, it's always Luna first and anything else second. But no, I don't really have anything I'm actively working on, but I've got ideas.
All right. Okay. We'll go right inside. I'll move over here again. Yep, right there.
30-minute challenges, do you do them? And what is the focus? What do you focus on when you're doing them? Or do you have any other general guidelines for 30-minute challenges?
I don't actually do them. I should be doing them. I know you were in the stream when I tried to do a Bob Ross challenge, which is trying to actually paint with them digitally, and I failed miserably. So that was my 30-minute challenge. But 30-minute challenge, I really can't answer that. But these guys, I think Englishmen probably can answer that one better than I can.
I can't.
Oh, really? I thought you did one, really?
I don't know, I've never actually done one, but they sound really, really fun to do. I've been meaning to. Yeah, definitely. I'd like to try doing one in the future.
I don't think there's a such thing as making anything out of metal in 30 minutes.
I've never done the formal challenges where they set it. I've always just done them on my own. Okay, I'm gonna speed paint in 30 minutes. I'm gonna speed paint in 1 hour. Half the stuff in my gallery is in 1 hour, maybe.
Yeah, I used to do them a lot, and I don't really do them anymore, but I'm very glad I did, because they help me get really fast now when I'm doing normal art, to the point where I kind of accidentally do them sometimes, where it's like, oh, that only took me 30 minutes, that's cool. But as far as what to focus while you're doing them, it really depends on what you're doing at the time in art. Sometimes I will need to work on my anatomy, so I will focus on anatomy. Sometimes I need to work on lighting, It really changes every time. But the main thing is to have something done by the end of it.
Yeah, it's a nice way to practice some skill you're lacking. It's a quick way.
Yeah.
Just iterate.
And it takes 30 minutes. You don't need a ton of time for it or anything.
Yeah. And don't be discouraged if you actually can't get something done in 30 minutes. Speed comes with time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged.
Yep. All right, we're going to right there. In the blue, and then we'll go in the back. Right there, he is.
Wait, Spike has had his
yeah.
handle.
Oh, really? Oh, it's right guy. Okay, it's right guy.
Okay, we'll get you
Oh,
next.
yeah, next. We're getting next.
We may only have time for like
now that you've had a little more experience with working in the fandom, is there any aspect you find still is really difficult in terms of drawing, or in case of metalworking, particular styles or particular shapes that you just still have an issue or still really don't like doing because it's challenging?
My biggest challenge so far is trying to still do backgrounds, and it's still trying to learn how to get more expressive poses, where it's more like just trying to, instead of breaking my mold. That's the hardest thing, is trying to break my mold, or trying to do one thing that I'm so familiar with. That's basically been the hardest challenge for me, that I want to eventually improve more, is trying to get just more branched out with poses and stuff like that more.
I think it's mastering proportions and anatomy, because every time I draw something, the proportions sometimes end up wonky, and I ended up redrawing it several times just to get it down right. It's like one leg is 1 millimeter too short, or one arm is 1 centimeter too long, or yeah, it's just learning to manipulate all that sort of good anatomy kind of curves and stuff like that. It's especially bad when I'm drawing stallions for some reason. It's just like, because mares are angular, and I mean, well, stallions are a lot more angular, and the positioning gets a lot more complicated for me, at least from my experience and the way I draw, so I'm never really sure how to manipulate that.
For me, and it would be the case for just about most jewelers out there, they would have the same answer. That would be stone setting. Very hard to learn, very hard to do. And there's no more sickening feeling in the world than hearing a $2,000 gemstone crack underneath the pressure you're applying. It sucks. A lot.
Wow.
It'll ruin your day, your week, maybe even your month.
Personally, I'm working on being more conscious of my compositions. Like, my compositions can be a little static, so making more dynamic, stuff like that. Color composition, the actual flow of the composition, that sort of thing.
What do I struggle with? Everything. Generally, I'd say probably the face is the most. Just getting a face that looks like it's making a face without looking wrong. That's hard.
All right, now we're gonna get Spike. Right there. Yeah, we're gonna get
He's had like half its thing.
Yeah.
You kind of took my question.
All right.
He took his question. The
Oh.
person you just answered literally.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, we'll get in the corner over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This front guy.
Yeah.
Regarding the robotic Luna tumbler, Mecha Moon. Take it.
Yes. Think about it. There we go.
Now you have to.
Yeah, that's it. Now let's do it.
Don't forget wear-slurs.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Dude, I can't forget wear-slurs. I can't forget that.
I think I like have one more.
Yeah, probably one more. Where do you go, whatever.
To what do you credit your internet success?
It's kind of been Equestria Daily, just because they've been promoting my stuff for so long. But it's almost like, I don't really want to look at just how famous I am. I just want to keep focusing on what I love to do. But that's kind of where I credit, is because I've gotten Equestria Daily, and it's been spread around so much, and I've been in it for so long. But I usually just want to keep focusing on what I love to do with this. But yeah.
I think definitely, yeah, Equestria Daily, they have promoted a few of my works, and more, I think it's also the idea of drawing what I really like, and seeing an idea that I get finally fleshed out. It's a pretty motivating feeling to look at the stupidest thing I've ever drawn and think, oh yeah, that totally came out of my head.
Yeah, same here at Equestria Daily, and a little bit of credit to the show staff too. I've made a few thank you gifts for a few of the VAs and the show staff, and they've actually done a lot of promotion for me, which really surprised me.
The random fans I had who sent my stuff into Equestria Daily, Reddit, Dirt Paper, that sort of stuff, because I sent like my first big piece, it was terrible, into Equestria Daily, got rejected, and used for something else on that site. I have no clue why. But after that, I gave up, but somebody else sent my stuff in, and they kept sending my stuff in, so fans.
The main thing is drawing a lot. But then as far as websites, Equestria Daily and Reddit. Reddit has been a big source for me too.
And I think that's fine.
Yeah, and that's about it. That's all we got for this.
I do have one more thing real quick. Another answer for that question. Another thing I have to thank for my success, you guys. Your constant support. You guys have been there for me, and I will all see it. If it wasn't for your support, I wouldn't be here right now.